Hey, welcome into another episode of the Fat Guy Podcast. I'm the Fat Guy. Most people call me Brett Mason. I appreciate you listening today. We'll be updating you on my weight loss journey and talking about the magic that is the ketogenic diet. People always ask me, what's different about it? What's great about it? Why is it wonderful? How did you wind up here? And all these kinds of questions. And I've talked about it repeatedly in numerous podcasts, but I've never had a podcast devoted strictly to the magic of the ketogenic diet. So I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So I'm not a doctor, don't claim to be one, never had any medical training. You should get medical advice from an actual doctor, okay? The only thing I would say is that if you have a doctor that isn't keen on ketogenic diet, I might look into finding another doctor, but again, that's entirely up to you. If you like getting the episodes, you want to have it easy and automated, boy, podcasting is brilliant in that regards. And the easiest way to do it is download the Spreaker app. That's the company that hosts my podcast. They have a free app you can download no matter what kind of device you got, pretty much. Just search for Spreaker, Spreaker, in your app store. Download it. Once you download it, search for the Fat Guy Podcast. It should come right up. You can follow it, favorite it. You'll get notified about new episodes. You'll also be able to scroll back and see all the old episodes so you can reference any kind of subject you're looking for. And follow us on social media, won't you? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's all Fat Guy Podcast. That's how you can find us. That's my username on all those channels. And Snapchat is my favorite. Snapchat is where I show you what I eat every day. So if you want to see what a guy that's lost 125 pounds eats every day, Snapchat is the way to go because I pretty much share everything on there. So I'm about to burst your bubble right off the bat, and I could be very, climatic and build up to a huge crescendo, but I'm not going to do that. There is no magic to a ketogenic diet. There's nothing magical about it. Now, there's some functional things about it. There's some physiological things about it. Excuse me. There's a lot of reasons that it's wonderful. There's a lot of reasons that after trying all the mini diets that I've had, some of them even successful. For example, a vegan diet, whole food vegan diet. I lost weight on a whole food vegan diet. It doesn't compare to a keto diet, though. Keto is far better, far faster, and far easier to do. And the science seems to indicate as healthy or healthier than a vegan diet. But we're not going to get into all that. So if a ketogenic diet is not diet, then why is it better? That's the question. If you're telling me it's not magical, there's no magic to it. Brett, if there's no magic to it, why is the ketogenic diet better? What is it about it that's better? So let me tell you the ways that it's the same first, okay? This is why a ketogenic diet is the same as every other diet you've ever tried. It requires you to make changes in your life. There's no diet, no way of eating. I hate using the word diet. There's no way of eating. There's no plan that you can follow that doesn't require you to change your life. People want that. People want to lose weight, but they don't want to change anything. And when I say they, I mean me. I was the same way. I always thought I'd like to lose weight, but I didn't think enough about it to actually change anything. So in that regard, the ketogenic diet is like every other kind of diet you can try. It requires you to change. You have to change stuff. You have to stop eating some things you want to keep eating. I don't think you have to eat anything you don't want to eat. That'd be the difference. Like when you go to a plant-based diet, you may not want to eat broccoli or, you may not want to eat cauliflower. But you're probably going to have to. You're probably going to have to eat some vegetables you don't like. I'd say for most people, the one benefit of coming to a ketogenic diet is you usually don't have to eat anything that you don't already like. So you're not adding in anything you don't like. You're just dropping out some things that you do like. So in that regard, it's a little bit easier, but it's still not magic. But overall, I would say there's nothing more magical about it than any other diet in the regards that you have to change things, and it's difficult early on. Change doesn't come easy for anybody in any area of life, but especially in the way we eat. But I have good news. The key phrase is early on. It's very difficult early on. Here is where we get into the magic. That isn't really magic, okay? Ketogenic diet isn't magic, but it has some magical qualities. It doesn't have magical qualities, but it certainly has better qualities, okay? Step one is that getting easier thing. Look, there's an adjustment phase when you go keto. If you do it right, you go really low carb, really high fat, your body will have to shift from burning carbs to burning ketones. And when it does that, there will be some issues. You may experience something called keto flu for a few days. By and large, you can prevent most of that if you'll just drink you some salt water every day and keep your electrolytes up. I talk about that in other podcasts. Go back and look. I have a whole podcast about nothing but electrolytes. There's an adjustment phase of cravings. You're going to crave whatever sweet things. If you're a Coke drinker, sweet tea drinker, whatever, you're going to crave those things. So you got to get through that. So that'll take a little while, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days or whatever. So you're going to have some withdrawal. You're going to have some frustrations because you're not used to eating this way. So learning to eat this way, you'll have to think a lot about what you're going to eat. My advice on that, by the way, is to keep it simple. I tell everybody that comes to me for help, have bacon and eggs, cook the eggs in some butter for breakfast every day for the first couple of weeks. For lunch, you have 4 to 6 ounces of beef every day with a cup to 2 cups of green leafy vegetables or broccoli or cauliflower or asparagus. You prepare those vegetables in a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of butter or a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. You got to have that fat. And then dinner, same thing as lunch. Same formula. 4 to 6 ounces of the beef, whether that be steak. Preferably it's not steak. I'd prefer you to make it ground beef, 80-20 or better. That meat is much fattier, but steak will work fine too. And you do that for a couple of weeks. It takes all the complications out of it. Everybody knows how to make vegetables like that and meat. It's not that hard. I didn't cook and I could do it. Bacon and eggs for breakfast every morning. Don't get no more simple than that. So that's my advice. Keep it simple. So compare this to any other diet. The same things happen. There's a withdrawal phase. There's a phase where you miss things you used to eat. You don't get to eat them no more. There's a phase where you feel kind of icky. You're having some kind of withdrawal, whether it be from, if you're quitting caffeine, you're quitting sugar, whatever. You're going to have some kind of withdrawal phase. You're also going to have a phase where you're awkwardly working your way through meals because you're not used to eating that way. So that applies to any diet. It's not just keto. So that's level playing ground. So where's the magic of keto? The magic of keto is that it gets easier the longer you go. At 1 month, it's easier. At 2 months, it's even easier. 3 months, it's a breeze. 6 months, it's amazingly easy. In all areas, your understanding of it and the way that you eat it, because the cravings are gone. You find that your hunger goes away. You're never hungry anymore. Who can't lose weight if you're never hungry? I asked somebody that the other day that was talking to me. I was like, if you weren't ever hungry, you think you could lose weight? And I go, oh, yeah. Well, welcome to keto. It's not magic, but it happens. And that's not going to say you won't ever want food. You will. But all that ravenous hunger you felt your whole life, it goes. You're not driven by that anymore. And then there's some physiological things that happens internally, metabolically. This keeping carbohydrates really low forces your body to, convert your own fat stores into energy. Ketones are a result of that, which powers your body. And consequently, you're burning fat. So what does that help with? Well, you probably have insulin resistance. Most likely you have insulin resistance. You may be full-blown type 2 diabetic. But if you're overweight, especially in the gut area, that's probably your problem. And so it hacks that. And so it hacks you back to a normal physiological. Then the other thing it does is the high level of fat keeps you from getting hungry. That's what the fat does. It's not magical though. None magic about it. It really only has a couple of benefits over any other diet. And that one would be the physiological change inside, how you process the food, and how you hack that insulin resistance so your insulin does fall and you do start converting the fat you've stored back into energy and burning it off. But beyond that, It's the hunger. The big thing is hunger. I mean, once you start readily producing ketones and your body readily uses them without any problem, and that can happen anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 weeks that you really get good at it. Some people are earlier than others. Once it kicks in, man, you don't worry about it anymore. You're just not hungry, and that is the best feeling in the world. So ketogenic diet is not magic, but it has a couple of amazing properties that make most people be wildly successful if you give it a try, okay? So, if you like what you heard today, if you're a little disappointed that keto isn't magic, but you are excited that it sounds like it's something you could try, dive in. Come on, it's not that hard. I have a ton of previous podcasts you can listen to that'll help you along your way. Best way to get those is download that Spreaker app, Spreaker. Download the Spreaker app, look for Fat Guy Podcast on it, favorite it, follow it, and you'll be able to know when new episodes come down. Of course, if you're already using a podcast app, like, you're using the default iOS podcast app, or you're using a podcast app on your Android device or whatever, you can still find us. We're in Apple Podcasts. Just look for Fat Guy Podcast, okay? But the Spreaker thing is a lot easier, a lot more convenient. You readily can see past episodes, so I really like that app. And follow us on social media. Fat Guy Podcast is the username for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Fat Guy Podcast is also the username for my Snapchat account, where I show you what I eat every day. So add me on there, won't you? I'd love to have you on there, and you can shoot me questions anytime. I'm happy to try to answer them. Thanks for listening for the show today so much, and you can be a hero and literally change somebody's life by sharing this. If you saw this pop up on social media, hit that share button. You never know who in your life will see it, and this will be the catalyst for change so that they can go from being overweight, obese, miserable, unhealthy to being much healthier, much happier, and living a much more fulfilled life. You can be a hero today just by hitting the share button.